Hey, Edward Blade here today, doing a review for Midsommar. I don't know what I just watched. It said that it was a horror movie, but no, this ain't it, Chief. This ain't a horror movie. I don't know what it is, but it's long. God, it's long. Such a long movie. God, so many hours wasted. God damn, it makes me so mad just thinking about it. Why did I waste so much time? Anyway, I'm sorry about that. I'm trying not to do too many spoilers in these reviews. I might say one or two things that people will be like, oh, why did you say that? No, I can't watch the movie. I know what happens. If you've seen Midsommar and you want an intelligent person with a film degree's review on it, this is the place to be. I'm your guy. But if you want a very non-spoilery review, go find some other schmuck's fucking YouTube channel. If you've seen the previews, you kind of know what's going to happen in it. It's one of those movies. I was excited initially to see that writer-director Ari Aster had written and directed a new horror movie, since I actually liked Hereditary, and I don't say that too often. Man, this guy really likes his protagonist to deal with the loss of family members. I don't know if he gets off on it or if he lost every single member of his family in some horrific way back in the day. I hope he did after watching this piece of shit. There's so many shots that are just a shot of a mirror with the main actress framed within it, and I kept looking for some sort of magical meaning behind it, and thinking, oh, this is gonna come into play later. He wouldn't be doing this for no reason, would he? But once they leave the city, the mirror stuff kind of stops and it never comes back into play later, and there's really no meaning behind it from what I can tell. So really, it's just kind of dumb as fuck. It's hey, look at me, this is artistic. I'm gonna put these motherfuckers inside a mirror. Hey, look at this. There's a frame within a frame, and there's people in it and the actors, but you're not really. It's a reflection of what they're doing. But strike one, bad movie. That was stupid. Don't do it again. And here we go again. It's another movie where, the creepy people are white Europeans. Or didn't we already see this in Children of the Corn? Wasn't the whole point of that movie that blonde children are creepy? So yeah, we all know this already. You're not breaking any ground here. This isn't anything new. You think you're breaking cinema history with something like this? No, dude, it's been done, son. It's been done. It's been done. We know this. It's a thing. White people kill. And at some point, the main character's friends start disappearing, and they just continue to hang around this cult farm that all these creepy fucking, Swedish people, and it's no big deal. That makes no sense. After one single person disappeared, I'd be nope, fuck this shit, I'm gone. Why wouldn't they just leave? I sure would, and I'm not very smart. After all, I got a fucking film degree. I've seen other reviews saying oh, you won't even notice the length of time. You won't even notice the 2 hours and 27 minutes. It flies by. Oh no, son, I noticed. I noticed every single minute that this movie fucking dragged on. I noticed. It's too long. Horror movies should not be this fucking long. They squeeze in too much drama and story, and it's they forget about scaring people. That's the point. I'm watching a horror movie because I want to be scared. I don't care about these people having marital difficulties in this film. That doesn't scare me. I want to be spooked. I also kept seeing reviews saying oh, the imagery is so terrifying. Oh, the imagery stays with you forever. The fuck no, it doesn't. The face of the ghost lady in The Grudge, now that is terrifying imagery. Ever seen any of the Saw movies? Now that is terrifying imagery. The scariest looking thing in this movie happened the first 5 minutes into it, and it made the next 3 hours of this movie all the more boring for it. You don't show me the most gruesome, fucked up thing you can in the first 5 minutes, then follow it up with nothing at all ever. That's just poor filmmaking. Who makes a movie like that? Watch the first 5 minutes and just leave. Just turn the fucking movie off. That's the best part. I'm telling you now. I used to love that, like, you could tell when something was gonna be pretentious. Like, you know, you'd stay away from indie dramas or foreign films or like those indie comedies that think they're really funny and quirky, but you don't laugh at all, and the only people laughing are, you know, 60-year-old white people in the theater. But no, now you got to worry about it in your horror movies too. You know, I wish Ari Aster spent less time worrying about whether the crowd could smell how good his fucking fart smelled, and just spend more time, you know, trying to scare people, because that's what it is. It's a scary movie, so, you know, scare me instead, fucko. Unless, of course, this is like some pretentious take on horror, and, you know, the real horror is that you have to endure a 2.5 hour long movie that has like no scares or horror. When I was done with Hereditary, you know, I thought the last part of that movie was like one of the scariest things I've seen ever. Like, you know, I was scared to take my dogs out afterwards, you know, that time. Not with this movie. Took my dogs out, wasn't scared of shit. Like, I get it, you know. Okay, Ari, you made one good movie. You know, please don't spend the rest of your career trying to differentiate yourself from all the other horror directors by, like, being like, no, see, I'm that indie director who makes smart horror. How about just trying to scare people, you know? That's the point of horror, you fucking goofball. I kept waiting in suspense for something supernatural and scary to happen. And I'm still waiting. You know, instead we get a European cult doing very European culty things. Like having sex while all the women stand around and watch you have sex. Speaking of sex scenes, you know, when I watch a horror movie, especially when I was a little kid, you know, I watch horror movies because I wanted to see some boobies. So what do you get after 2.5 hours of watching this movie? You get 10 minutes of dick. 10 minutes of dick. Who watches horror movies to see some little ginger dude's penis? I don't. You know? It's literally the worst sex scene in any movie ever made, ever. Period. I didn't even get erect while watching this. I don't know who possibly could. So spoiler alert, maybe? I don't know. At one point, there's like, American visitors are told about the 4 parts of the cult's life cycle and how their lives end at the age of 72. And one of the Americans is like, what happens at 72? And one of the Swedish guys is like, it's like, oh, I guess it's supposed to be taken as a joke. But, you know, to me, I was like, oh, something's going to happen to someone at the age of 72. We're going to watch a 72-year-old get killed or something. Which is good, because, you know, like, I think all old people should be killed off after a certain age. But, you know, I'm not even going to get into that here. 50. Send them all away at the age of 50. So everyone goes to this mountain where there's like 72-year-old hanging out at the top of a cliff. I'm like, I wonder what's going to happen here. Sure enough, like, he jumps off and he survives his fall. And it's like, Jesus Christ, how fucking stupid is that? Like, this guy has one fucking job. He's been looking forward to killing himself at the age of 72 his whole life, and he fails at it, you know? Only an old person could fuck up something as simple as killing themselves. And apparently there's a director's cut of this movie now for some fucking reason, and it's like, hey guys, let's make this boring ass excuse for a horror movie that's 2.5 hours long, 3 hours long. People will fucking love it. People are gonna go bananas for a 3-hour horror movie where nothing scary happens. Who is fucking marketing this movie? This movie was really fucking disappointing. It's like really lame once you realize that the whole movie is just a metaphor for a breakup. Honestly, it makes me want to just jump off a cliff like a 72-year-old man who's outlived his welcome. To the people who think this is a good movie, you know, you're all fools. All of you. You've just been tricked by Ari Aster, by his pretty settings, by the nice visuals, you know, the good acting, and you don't really realize that it's a fucking pointless and very subpar, mediocre tier movie, as far as horror goes, at least. I think Aster could make a really good horror movie if he actually made a fucking horror movie. Even Hereditary, though good, wasn't a horror movie. It was like just mostly a drama about a family losing a family member. Like, if this guy really just went out and made like a full-on ghost and monsters movie, you know, like made it 100 minutes max, cut out all the filler, cut out all the fucking drama between characters, you know, I bet he'd make a good fucking horror film. You listening, Ari? You know, there's some good advice for you. Do it. If your career skyrockets, give me some money, please. Give me some money, please. So, I've dragged on long enough, and I don't want this review to also be 2.5 hours long. So I give it 3 out of 10 angry reacts because I didn't completely hate it. I just hated that a horror movie wasted 5 hours of my life and didn't make me scared even once. Technically, if you count the time it took me to write up this review and then record it and edit it, I'm going to end up wasting over 100 hours on this fucking excuse for a fucking horror movie. Oh God, what have I done?